Tyrannosaurus rex. North America's top predator. With his 6-inch long teeth, tearing through an alamosaur's tough skin is not a problem.
Hello my Snorks, welcome back to the channel. Today on What If, the third episode, we're going to be going over the speculative question, what if Colossal biosciences brought back the dinosaurs? Now, we're going to give you a little bit of insight on Colossal bioengineering as a company itself. So, Colossal bioengineering specifically deals with conservation of almost extinct animals and bringing back extinct animals. Earlier this year, their biggest publicity stunt, I wouldn't even call it science, I'd call it a publicity stunt, was the direwolf. Now, the direwolf is not a direwolf. A direwolf is a 10,000 year ago canine that lived at the very, very end of the Ice Age, around when humans started to exist. So, now they were exceptionally large. They're larger than any other wolf species today, and the closest relative today is the gray wolf, which is where it brings us today. Now, Colossal did not bring back the direwolf from the dead. Instead, they brought back a gray wolf. They took gray wolf DNA, and because they're so similar, they added traits. A different fur coat, larger fur coat, a different skull shape, larger size, intelligence. It's all a costume that they put on a gray wolf. Now, is it cool? I guess so. But what about the largest and longest living species ever? Not even a species, just a genus in itself. Dinosauria. Like this example, with this Hammond Collection Velociraptor. This is not what Velociraptor looks like. This is the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World design, which is not accurate whatsoever. This is more accurate to Utah Raptor, which is the largest dromaeosaur ever. But Utah Raptor was found during the filming of Jurassic Park, so technically the Jurassic Park raptors are Deinonychus upsized, upscaled. Now, is it even possible to bring back a dinosaur? No. There is no traces of DNA or any type of flesh in a dinosaur whatsoever. This lack of DNA and lack of preservation of DNA in bones or anything has led to the definitive answer that dinosaurs can never be brought back to life, only somehow replicated with, reptilian traits on some type of bird, maybe an ostrich. They make a carnivorous ostrich, that'd be pretty scary. But it is impossible to bring back dinosaurs. But this is a what-if episode, so let's say they did. We're going to use something that scientists found quite a few years back. It was remnants of what seemed to be blood or flesh inside the bone of a tyrannosaur specimen or fossil. Now, we'll be using T-Rex for this example for this entire video, so stick with me. This flesh was debunked to have any DNA in it. But let's say it did have DNA in it, and Colossal bioengineering swooped in, extracted the DNA, and was able to make an embryo of a T-Rex, which is absolutely insane news, but they held it back. Just like they did with the direwolf, so they could show you a real life, living example, instead of just showing you a black and white picture of an embryo. Now, Colossal continues, and they finally hatch their first T-Rex. Of course, it's pretty large. T-Rex gave live birth from what we've studied. We've never found any egg remnants in T-Rex whatsoever. So, it's about 3, 4 feet long, and about 2.5 feet tall. About the size of a pretty long dog, but pretty normal-sized height dog. And this baby, they're able to feed it, they're able to nurture it, and they grow it up. They raise it in a lab, they raise it with tons of human activity, so it associates humans with family, with humans. Humans are the good guys. You know, we want humans. That's what we're trying to teach these T-Rexes. Now, they take DNA from the infant, they clone it. But this time it's a female. Now they can breed. And they keep doing this until there's 5. And their facility is pretty small for a T-Rex. So they have to get a bigger area. And they realize they need a really accurate depiction of a natural T-Rex's environment, which would have been North America. Now, it's specific in North America, but the West Coast would probably be the best example. They lived essentially what is in redwood forests in today's examples. So, somehow, Colossal bioengineering gets enough money to buy parts of the redwood forests, which is a protected area, and they release the T-Rexes. But as the T-Rexes grow, something even more of an inconvenience shows up. Food. T-Rexes eat hundreds of pounds of food per day. This amount of food cannot be found in the redwood forest, which is why, as the T-Rexes grow from infants to juveniles, they put in moose to allow the T-Rexes to hunt these and eat them. But T-Rex used to live alongside Triceratops at the same time, same environment, same place. And they primarily hunted Triceratops. So, moose really wasn't the key here. Now, T-Rex, as they grow older, they require more food. And after all this time, they eat more and more food. And the moose can't keep up. They can't reproduce fast enough to keep up with the demand of the T-Rex's eating habits. So, what happens? Well, the T-Rexes can't eat anymore. They don't have enough food. So, they become restless. They travel. They move. They try to find a new food resource to sustain themselves. And eventually they run into the wall. The wall that Colossal put up to cage them inside. Of course, these T-Rexes need food, so not in a fit of rage, but in a fit of necessity, they bust out down the wall. They eventually escape into the forest and head towards Oregon and Idaho. They run into multiple towns and cause havoc, although the cars and many people scare off the T-Rexes. All of this culminates until they get to around Montana, about to go across the American border into Canada, when Colossal finally tracks them down using the trackers they implanted and returns them. Now, they open up the entire redwood forest to the T-Rex and put in even more moose. This works for a while, but once the T-Rexes hit adulthood, there was just not enough food to sustain them whatsoever. And eventually, the T-Rexes go right back where they were, to being extinct. Dinosaurs are such complicated creatures. We know so little but so much about them, and yet you cannot harness them. You cannot play God. Which is why, dear Colossal, I hope you make the right precautions. I know a T-Rex isn't scientifically possible, but you could make, a cassowary, remove its feathers, make it bulkier, add a few modifications, get rid of the beak, make it hunched instead of upright, and you can literally make a dinosaur. Play dress up like you did with the dino. Well, that would be cool. It's also not right. It's not natural. It's not what God intended. So, is bringing back dinosaurs possible? No. And I hope if you're watching this, T-Rex did not look like the Jurassic Park T-Rex. That is what we thought T-Rex looked like in 1993 when the original Jurassic Park released. It was the most realistic and accurate T-Rex at that time. Now, it looks chunkier, bulkier, has more mass, more muscle. They're not just bone-wrapped animals. They have meat, bones, muscles, just like any other animal. And if you're envisioning these T-Rexes in your head as you're watching or listening, I just want you to know, search up Prehistoric Planet T-Rex, which was the T-Rex in the intro of this video. That is the T-Rex that I was using in my head due to the fact that it's probably the most accurate T-Rex we have to date. So with that, my Snox, the third episode of What If is over. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Join the Discord, which is on my channel page, and I will see you all in the next episode. Goodbye. I can never end these videos.